All right, so now I guess I need to say something because apparently some dick sneeze decided that deleting shit off of my fucking phone was legal. A, a comment made on YouTube earlier, about like 5 fucking minutes ago, so it's still fresh in my mind. Um, so that we're clear, the CFA is known as the Curio Firearms Act. Okay? A lot of folks don't know about this law, but if you go and you look it up, the CFA, all right, Title 14 dot 137 and dot 138. It is the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals standard for curio devices. This includes all antique firearms, antique firearm conversions, all air guns, and for that matter, any modern replicas and their conversions, by the by. Since YouTube wanted to be such a fucking dick sneeze and go and delete my comment off of homie's fucking video or post or whatever, and then delete the screenshot from my phone, which is a commission of a crime called negation of evidence. That is illegal as hell. If you pull that shit out of your ass, I'm sorry, but there's nothing in this fucking world that I can do to help you. If you're going to delete evidence, that's how you get your ass thrown so far down a deep hole that you can't climb your ass back out. This is why I don't delete evidence. I actually fucking make sure it's there. This is the reason why I go and I take screenshots and put them on my phone. Because when people go and delete evidence, it all becomes only hearsay. The metadata is still there. All right. And anybody who's got the fucking technical know-how can actually find that. But the problem is that particular that I just typed in and sent and took a picture of and all the 9 yards was deleted out of a string of comments and then deleted off of my phone because I know I took a second, I know I took a second screenshot of that specifically because when I'm making a comment, I'm fucking anal about it. So that was a big whoops. This is what I mean by eidetic memory. I can remember things 10 minutes ago or fucking 20 years ago. So anyways, beyond all that bullshit, I just need to go in and stomp over this again, reiterate it one more time. Title 14. Standard sections 137 and 138. Subsections A through F and A through E, respectively. So, in other words, yeah, it's legal for you if you're a felon, not a violent felon, mind you, but, what they call low-grade felon, to have a firearm that utilizes modern cartridges, so long as that firearm is not utilized in the commission of a crime. Oh, and that particular law also pertains to air guns. It pertains to anything that is not a firearm. For instance, you could have a mortar launcher. You can have a rail gun. You can have a coil gun. These are all curio devices. Those are all covered under this particular part of the law. The problem comes when somebody suppresses the First Amendment in order to push their own fucking agenda and then turns around and deletes evidence. See, there's a reason why people like me are actually going and taking and putting all this stuff into a fucking box somewheres. taking pictures of shit and not allowing it to be deleted. Because you look back through my history, there's a ton of fucking comments that I talk about that have never fucking shown up on YouTube. I have screenshots. This particular comment I'm talking about was deleted off of my phone. The screenshot was deleted off of my phone. I didn't do that. I don't do that. I keep these screenshots for a fucking reason. And that reason is that someday YouTube's going to have to turn around and pay off everybody that they went and they tried to delete their freedom of speech, because it is considered the public platform. There are several lawsuits in case already set and already in action. Now, while I haven't personally filed a fucking lawsuit, because yeah, it's $300 fucking dollars in a court to go in and file a civil lawsuit against some asshole. But you know what? That's just the filing charge, by the way. $300 is a lot of fucking money to me. I can't afford that. If you can afford that, you are a rich son of a bitch. That's literally, here's $300, government. Let me just burn that real quick. And then, oh, by the by, I've got another $1,000 for the lawyer fees. I got another $10,000 for fucking all the court fees all the way through. And I've got all this extra special horse shit that I got to deal with. And then it's fucking months and months and months of litigation and months and months and months and months and months of mitigation of the situation in order to come to the end result of maybe $1,000 worth of reparations. Which means I'm still paying the fuck out my ass for it. This is why I can't file that lawsuit. But that doesn't mean I don't go and collect the evidence. Because my evidence points to something else. That just because you don't have the money doesn't mean you don't have the ability. See, there's this one special thing in the court of law called nullification of fee. And you only end up having to pay the first $300. See, YouTube doesn't understand this or know about this shit. They're about to fucking find out. This is a situation where people need to actually be taking that evidence and pulling it off of the fucking internet every time they get a new comment on their videos or whatever. You see a comment pop up in your notifications, take a screenshot of that. Because when you turn around and you go back and that fucking comment's not there, that's evidence. That is picture perfect evidence. And if they delete it off of your phone, the metadata is still there, which means that they can turn around at the forensics lab, plug your phone in, and check for that particular magnetic signature on the processor and server in your phone. And if that magnetic signature is there, even in the small minutia, the garbage digits, that's evidence of a crime. And that's not just any kind of crime. That is what is called a capital crime, because it violates one of the enumerated rights in the constitutional clause of the rights and responsibilities of all Americans, aka the Bill of Rights. Now, the Bill of Rights was in its entirety passed, which is why it is called a constitutional clause now. Not just a bill. So, YouTube, Scamsung, both of y'all motherfuckers, your terms of service need to turn around and reflect this. Because otherwise, what you're doing is you are participating in a crime. Whether or not you are actively doing so makes no difference. This is how the law works in that situation. If you do not take active part, but you do not take active part to negate said crime, you are still culpable. This is called mea culpa. And for those of you who do not understand the legal jargon, let me make this perfectly understandable for you. This means that if you didn't commit the crime and you claim, I didn't know about it, it's still not good enough. Because if you say, I didn't know about it, but there's evidence that you could have known about it and that you still did nothing, that is a failure on your part, because ignorance of the law is no excuse. If it goes against the people, it goes against the corporations, because the corporations went and stuck their fucking foot in that hole. You see how that works? This is why when people say, well, the corporations can get away with shit. No, the fuck they can't. Because in a court of law, beyond the idea of a corporation is a body of people and it is a company, it is prosecuted as that. But when any other situation arises, for instance, the commission of a crime, it is prosecuted as an individual. This is how this fucking whole thing works. It blew my mind. Small businesses, big businesses, doesn't fucking matter. The business itself is a civil entity. You are a civil entity. Do you see where I'm going with this? As far as the law is concerned, if they participate in the negation of your rights, they have committed a capital crime. This is why the algorithm on YouTube is an action of capital crime. You should be documenting everything they do. If they delete your videos, that's fucking evidence. That is evidence in the commission of a crime. This is why YouTube isn't allowed to show firearms, because it's considered possession and they've already committed a capital crime, aka a felony. Are you seeing what, do you understand what's going on here? Are you reading between the fucking lines here? Are you understanding the fucking situation? Are you picking up what I'm a-putting down, son? Do you dig the garden that I have planted here? This is why YouTube's not allowed to show it. They know they've committed a felony and they're still under prosecution. They just haven't been convicted of it yet. This is why it's such a big fucking deal. They don't want to get another charge. This is why I keep on uploading these videos. Because it's like, well, it's not a crime. Because it's not being used in the commission of a crime. Because I'm not negating anybody's speech. I'm not negating anybody's abilities or saying, no, you can't. I'm saying don't do it here. That's the difference here. I own my channel. YouTube does not. YouTube owns the platform. They do not own the channel. This is why I can do the videos on my channel, but they can't go and then turn around and put it on, you know, in big bold letters on their platform. They can still have it. They can still have participation of it, but they cannot go and promote it. This is why I actually go and I do the whole, I'm the one age restricting my videos so that you don't get involved. This is all my doing, all my stuff, my recording, me. Your platform is just a place for upload. That's the difference here. Because YouTube themselves, the actual YouTube channel, shows videos and movies, of firearms being utilized in a crime and commits the crime of negation of speech, assembly, or freedom of expression, they have committed a capital felony, a capital offense, not just a misdemeanor, but a capital crime. And as such, they are under the same freaking jurisdiction prosecution as you would see somebody who is a chomo or a freaking violent felon or a terrorist or, say, a government official that goes and does the same thing. Because they are a civil entity, the same as you are. This is why it's important to know the law. Even if it doesn't pertain to you, even if it's like, you know what, you'd rather be ignorant, it's best to know the law. The reason being, you have so much more power than you think. And when I say so much more power than you think, I don't think you really understand how much actual power you have. The government can't say you can't do this. YouTube can't say you can't do this. The freaking internet goons over at the ICAF can't say you can't do this because it would be a crime. I mean, yeah, sure, they could say it, but they can't act on it. They could talk all the shit they want, but they can't act on it. That's the point. You need to start taking power into your own hands. You can represent yourself. You can be that proper person. You see what I did there? All of you legalese understanding people actually do know what I just said right there. That's the big deal here. You have to think like a lawyer. You have to think like a lawyer because you are dealing with tyrants. That is part of being a Minuteman. That is part of being an American. You have to think like a lawyer. By the time you pass out of high school, you graduate from high school, legally speaking, you are a constitutional lawyer, whether you like it or not. You have the ability to represent yourself. And that is what is called pro per. Not pro se, pro per. And that's where you get your little bit of power there, Hoss. Like I said, little bit of power starts, it's like a spark in a pile of grass, starts a fire. You need to have the sparks of willing individuals to light the brush fires of freedom. Well, this is your spark, Saul. That's your spark. Better fucking use it. Fan them flames. Get them happy. Because this is the situation here, I'm telling you all. As long as you are not committing a crime, an actual federal crime, or a state crime, not a civil disobedience, not a civil disturbance, not anything civil, a crime, which means the negation of a law. Not a legal jargon, not legislation, a law. you haven't committed a crime. Unless you are committing a... See, this is the point. Most of the felons out there aren't actually felons. They committed a legal faux pas, not a unlawful faux pas. This is why you need to have this kind of knowledge. I mean, just, think about it. Think about it. If you know how to move yourself through this kind of bullshit, you could do the same shit. Think about that. It's amazing. Now, yeah, I have been navigating this crap stain for decades. So I might have a little bit more knowledge about this than most, but at the same time, I'm nobody. I don't have ESQ behind my name. I'm not bar certified. I'm just little old constitutional lawyer because I graduated high school. You see my point? This is one of those you need to have that actual grasp of reality and pay attention to both the legal side of crap and the lawful side. Because the legal side of crap, that's what they're going to use to try and pressure you. The lawful side of crap is what you're going to turn around and go, no, motherfucker, you're committing a crime. That's how you do that. You have to have knowledge of the lawful to be able to negate the legal. If you don't, you might as well be the belle of the ball. Because you're going to be passed around to everybody. Learn the law so that you can negate the legalese. See what I'm saying there? Learn the law so you can negate the legislation. So that you can litigate. Stand for yourself in a court of law. You need to be able to do this because having somebody else represent you is no guarantee of proper representation. Individual liberty. Anybody paying attention now? At all? This is one of those, I'm being snarky, I'm being an ass, but I'm trying to piss you off enough so that you go out and learn it for yourselves. Think about it. Like I said, nobody's going to have your back like you will. So wouldn't you want to know so that if your lawyer goes and makes a massive freaking legalese faux pas, you could turn around and say, no, I have no confidence. Your Honor, I have no confidence in my representation and choose to pass for representation pro per. And therefore, with full knowledge that it is not advised, I request that my representation be terminated and that I be allowed to respectively find proper representation so that I may represent myself pro per. This is important. Those particular words are very fucking important in a court of law, especially in a criminal case. Civil cases, Criminal cases, that's fucking important because if you have a public defender, they're going to throw you under the bus the first chance they get because it's just easier. It's a case they don't have to deal with. But you are going to fight and fight and fight and fight because you don't want to be behind them bars. You don't want to be stuck in that freaking shit show. This is why you need to learn this stuff. So pick up the Title 14, pick up the Title 11, pick up the Title 18, pick up the Title 15, pick up the Title 20. these pieces of legislation you can negate with the Title 001. If you don't know what that is the United States Constitutional Code of Conduct. So anyways, if you found this educational or helpful in any way, remember that particular button and say hi to us. We're all wondering what you got to say down there. Okay? Arrive dirt cheap. And y'all have a nice day. I'm out.